everyone, my name is Sharon Platt. I am one of the science tutors from the Student Success Commons, and in this video I would like to go over the flow of blood through the heart. So for that we are going to have to look inside. And a couple things before we go into this. This is the right side of the heart. This is the left side of the heart. And we often think of arteries as being red, veins as being blue. When we work with the heart, we need to throw that completely out. That is not the case. It's only the case half the time. So think of the red as being oxygenated blood, blue as being deoxygenated blood, and arteries go away from the heart, veins come back to the heart. All right, those two keys will help you keep this straight. So we're going to start with the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. These are the two veins that bring blood back from the body to the heart, and the coronary sinus, which drains the vessels of the heart itself. Superior vena cava drains above the diaphragm, inferior vena cava drains below the diaphragm. So they all drain into the right atrium, and you can see all three of those there. They drain into the right atrium, go through the tricuspid valve, which is an atrioventricular valve, into the right ventricle, up through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary trunk, which then splits into two pulmonary arteries, goes out to the lungs. Notice this is deoxygenated blood, but it's an artery going out to the lungs, back through the pulmonary veins. There's 4 of them, and they are now oxygenated, into the left atrium, through the bicuspid or mitral valve, into the left ventricle. Now if you look, this left ventricle has thicker walls and is also larger than the right ventricle. There's a good reason for that. The right ventricle sends blood to the lungs. So our heart's about in the middle here, and then our lungs are on either side. That's not a very far distance. It doesn't have very far to go. So it doesn't need as powerful of a stroke as the left ventricle, which sends blood all the way through our body, up to our head, down to our feet, all of that. So it needs much more power. So we go from the left ventricle through the aortic valve, which is a semilunar valve. That and the pulmonary valve are semilunar valves. Through the aortic valve into the aorta, aortic arch. Coronary arteries come out here and feed the heart itself. This is the brachiocephalic trunk. This is the left common carotid artery, and this is the left subclavian artery. So it goes out to the entire body. Other arteries break off of the aorta all the way down. Goes out to the body, comes back through the superior and inferior vena cava. All right? And then we start all over again. So this time around I'm going to go a little faster, and then you get to try it on your own. And hopefully I can keep it all straight. All right, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, coronary sinus, all drain into the right atrium, through the tricuspid valve to the right ventricle, through the pulmonary valve to the pulmonary trunk, pulmonary arteries, out to the lungs, back through the pulmonary veins, into the left atrium, in there, through the bicuspid or mitral valve into the left ventricle, up through the aortic valve, into the aorta, out to the body, back through the superior and inferior vena cava. And that is the flow of blood through the heart.